Ừ, ừ,
Hello, Marianne.
Hey, Roger.
And how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
We can't see you.
You can't.
No, I just see it.
Hey, let me slide this little button over here the other way. Is
Hey.
that better?
Yep. Yes.
All right.
I apologize for my mistake on posting.
Hmm.
Let's,
It's fine. Here we are.
here we are. Let's see. I know that Jeff knows. There's Molly.
Yeah.
Jeff's
Penny.
logging in.
Yep. Hi, Molly. Hello, Jeff. Let's see. We're waiting for our note taker.
There's a chance that she'll show up here, but she'll probably just show up online.
Yeah, I sent her an extra email. I didn't see anything from her.
Yeah, I saw her today. She knows.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
And Brad was going to be here. We're still a minute early.
Yeah. Oh, there's Brad.
Hi, Brad. Right. It is 7 o'clock. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. 7 o'clock on the.
Oh, okay. Here's Penny.
Oh, good. I'll wait for her then
All right.
so that she can take the minutes.
Okay.
I didn't get home until just a few minutes ago.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Um, okay.
You ready?
Yeah,
Tell me when you're ready.
I just need to sit down. Okay.
All right.
Are you anticipating Dominic?
No.
No,
No.
no. All right, we're calling the meeting to order. It's still 7 o'clock. Let's see, we do not have any public here for public comment. If they do come later, we'll let them come in and maybe let them talk or not. Review and vote on the minutes of May 21st. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
That's Brad.
Yeah, Brad.
Okay. Second, I will second. Penny, I don't know if you saw, there were just two little corrections.
I did see them, and also Stephen sent me a couple things, but I've not had a chance to correct them, but I will make those two sets of corrections.
Okay, and if you do that and send them to me, I'll post them.
Okay.
Okay. Um, let's see. Did we vote? We didn't vote. Roll call vote, please.
Antonella's eye.
Dalmas, I.
Foster, I. Poole, I.
Jake's eye.
Moss eye.
Bush, I.
Paleo, aye. All right. Let's get an update on the library functioning. Marianne, how are we doing?
Um, so what do you mean by that?
I mean, by just the everyday working of the library, how people are reacting, how things are working in general, how
Okay.
all of it.
So everybody still walks in with a smile on their face. Summer is a very busy time in libraries. And so it's been very nice to have a, a beautiful facility to welcome families with children into. The air conditioning works great. We have it set at 74. A couple of times when I was expecting large indoor crowds, I lowered it to 72. But it's comfortable in there. During that really, really hot spell, I kept all the shades closed to kind of keep some of the sun out. And we're comfortable. And the library continues to be very busy. There are 2 different rounds of state reporting that the library has to do, and I just finished the statistics, and everything is up, but I didn't have time to figure out the percentages because I'll do that for the next report. But circulation is up and attendance at programming is up, and just people coming to the library is up because we have a beautiful new space and people want to come. One thing that is a remarkable difference is that, so the state has us count circulation to people who don't live in our town. So every town counts that. And then we get a little bit of state aid in relation to that. Like we get something like, I don't know, 14 cents per item gets rolled into our state aid. And our circulation to people who don't live in Shutesbury, and this is just off the top of my head, but I'm going to say that tripled.
Wow.
So because we have some place for people to come now. So we never really got people from Pelham before. We get Pelham now. We are open every day. A lot of libraries will be closed 1 or 2 days a week. So we get a lot of people on those days when other town libraries are closed. So anyway, so it's good and everything works. And people are generally seem very, very happy. If I had a magic wand, I would make another small study room. But most of the time, I mean, people aren't fighting over it, but people are definitely using it.
Well, that's good. For
yeah.
what purposes are they using it?
Zoom meetings with work. People are actually studying in there. I mean, I don't ask them what they're doing, but there was a high school student meeting with a tutor twice a week for most of the last 3 months of school. And it was a tutor that the high school was sending. People have had meetings with representatives from state agencies, so it's like social service agencies there. People meet job coaches there. But we don't, so people can book the room in advance and we don't ask them why they're booking it. We just book them. And then sometimes if people come in and the room is empty, people can just go in there and use it. And so there's been a woman coming and she clearly has textbooks. And she's, reading things and taking notes from these giant textbooks. So she's a student of some kind. There was a visiting scholar from China, and her son was doing Morse Hill camp. And they stopped in the library a lot of days after camp, and he would hang out in the children's room, and she was doing things in the small study. And anyway, and they're going back to China in September, but she was at the library today with her son and a man who is also Chinese, who, I don't know what their relationship is, and then her parents. And I showed them, they asked a lot of questions about Avery's dried flower art things. It was just interesting what they noticed. And then Penny pointed out some spice bush butterflies to me. So we've got these amazing butterflies that are living on the spice bush that we planted, and they will turn into spice bush swallowtail butterflies. And so I showed them that and talked about native plants and how the native plants are for our native birds and our native pollinators. And they wanted to know whose idea was that? And, I just said, it's just a thing we do here. And she's very,
That's great.
yeah. So, and it's not that we never got visitors from other countries in the old library, but it wasn't a place where they could stay.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's great.
yes. Yeah. So,
Dale, you have a question.
Yes, so Mary Ann, I'm specifically interested in some of the issues that we talked about in May, the bollards that weren't working, the issue with the carpet on the sliding glass door into the children's area that was a problem. And I'm just wondering if you're getting a positive response from the contractor in terms of addressing this stuff, or what's going on?
I think
okay.
that's coming in on the next thing that we are talking about would be the punch list and completion of the work to be done. So let's just move on into that because that
Okay.
is definitely part of that.
Okay,
So go ahead, Marianne.
thank you.
Okay. So, so I would say that CDI's response to the punch list has been slow
Mhm.
and frustrating. I send email after email after email, and they haven't done a whole lot until very recently. So last week the door subcontractor came, so the study door is difficult to open and close, and it was getting caught on the weather stripping. They sent somebody to do some caulking, and Jeff, I was hoping you would come by and look at that and see what you think and whether or not you think it's fixed. They just did that last week. The carpet, the door that slides over the carpet, they wanted to take out the carpet, which now has a hole in it, and then grind down the concrete and then replace the carpet. And I had a lot of concerns about that and didn't think that was a good solution. Dominic had suggested that they take out some of the carpet and then put down another strip of the rubber flooring that's in the children's room. And so Mike now says that they're going to do that, but they haven't done it yet. And so we talked about all of these things in May, and now it's August. So is it 3 months later? And it
Mhm.
wasn't like it was new then, right? So,
Right.
so they just did something about the study room door. I would like somebody else to look at it and tell me what they think. And I'm not going to comment on what I think. So the other big things was the stormwater infrastructure. So the outlet that runs along Leverett Road. And then there's one that is on the sort of the southwest end of the building. So they did come finally last week after many emails. They came last week. And so there was a day when I was going to email again and I was completely frustrated. And then I was just going to call Dawn. And I said, okay, I'm just going to call Neil. So I called Neil and I and I just expressed my, I think, legitimate frustration that months had gone by and nothing was done and the fall was coming. So they came last week and they rebuilt that basin. They made the sides 6 inches higher than the spillway. They rebuilt the spillway. And then they came the next day and they seeded it. And then they came this morning and they put straw down on top of the seed. So as long as we don't get another really horrible torrential rainstorm, we should be good. That should be good. They could not investigate the stormwater. It's another sort of small outlet on the far side of the basin that's right behind the rear entrance of the library, because it was filled with water. And I am not a stormwater engineer or expert, but I would suggest that it was filled with water because it's all gunked up with stuff that eroded into it. And I've been asking them to come and clean it out for months and months and months because it's not going to function properly. So they had a really good example of it not functioning properly because it's not supposed to be a pool. But they couldn't do anything about it. So they're gonna come back when it's dry. The other thing we're working on is lighting. The bollards are all fixed. And there are still outlets in the director's office that don't work. They need to install some lighting controls and they need a certain size ladder in order to get to where they need to get to make those outlets work way up in the ceiling. So they want to do all the work at the same time. And we're still going back and forth about lighting controls in the meeting room, although I do think we have a solution that probably makes sense, but I just want to read it over and talk about it one more time. So they want to keep that 8-button controller, and I think that it will do, that's in the meeting room. Right now, it can either be on or off or dimmed. And we're supposed to have control over different parts of the room, and I think that it can do it. But I just want to read it over one more time before I tell them it's good to go.
Yep.
And then they'll come and do all that work at one time. So I think that's all the questions, all the things that were outstanding.
How about the feather friendly?
Oh, feather friendly. I expect to hear, they were supposed to come and
This
it
week.
rained, and then they were supposed to come again and it rained, and then I didn't hear from them this week. I will send them an email. I'll look, but I think the weather's supposed to be pretty good this week.
Can you describe what their resolution was? Just for
feather friendly.
yeah.
They're gonna put the same film back on, the exact same film. They think that so they said in an email that that there may have been, that may have been a bad batch of film. And so they have a new batch of film, and they were supposed to install it 2 weeks ago, but we've had a string of bad weather. So I'll email them while we're in this meeting, and just see when they're gonna come, hopefully this week.
And they don't think the problem was because they installed it when it was so cold?
They haven't said that, and I haven't asked that question
I'm just curious.
specifically. I think I'm trying to just keep a positive relationship with them and take them at their word that there was something wrong with the film and that this next batch will work properly. There are several places around us in the valley that have the exact same product.
Okay, thanks.
And is everything up on bid docs and everything that you, Jeff, also have been needing to look at and sign off on, and all the warranties and stuff?
I don't think so.
Because that's what
I
Mike
looked
said
about,
that
I looked about a half hour ago.
No.
And I think there's some stuff missing.
Okay.
But I think Roger, I assume we still own from you guys a review of the closeout documents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're
And I want to read the closeout spec sections too.
yeah,
Um,
they've
Roger,
posted stuff. There wasn't anything there for the longest while.
yeah,
There were
exactly. Some
emails
stuff,
today that said they've
right,
put stuff on, so
right.
Hmm.
And do you have the ability to open up the CAD files? I do not.
I don't.
Okay, so we have to rely on Dominic to verify
Yeah.
that. But I noticed not all the CAD files, if you go by their headings, were there. So I think between the three of us, you, me, and Dominic, we need to determine where they really are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, if you could definitely stay on that, I'd appreciate that, Jeff.
So
Okay.
do we
Yeah.
still have expenses that we're paying at this point? I'm just curious where we are financially. Have
Uh,
Retainage, you
they,
mean?
yeah, I guess so. I'm sorry, I don't know the lingo very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're still holding, what, 300 plus thousand?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen, you have your hand up.
Yes, Mary Ann,
yeah.
what was their response when you touched base with them about the water seepage that we noted on the front wall after that rain?
Oh, okay. So two things. They did send a roofer out and the roofer did some caulking. The roofer got up on top of that upturned roof and found places where it was leaking and did some caulking. The water, Jeff, why don't you explain about the water going behind the siding? Because you'll say it in more technical terms than I will.
I think the water behind the siding is just water getting behind the rain screen. Uh, and then coming down the air vapor barrier like it's supposed to. So I think just with the heavy rains and the heavy wind, water got behind the siding. I don't think that's an issue. None of the water made it into the building.
And it's designed to do that.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
the moisture barrier is behind the siding and there's a gap in between the siding and the moisture barrier.
Exactly. For the water to run down.
Well, I guess my question is, why did that only occur adjacent that downspout? And if you look up at the upturned roof section, right at the far left, sort of adjacent to the downspout, there's staining suggesting this has happened more than one time on the wood. Did you see that, Jeff?
No, I didn't see that on the wood.
All right. Well,
And I wasn't in town when this storm hit, but
It was
I,
a heavy one.
I got the impression that even though that's a large box on the gutter up there, I got the impression there was just even more water than that box could handle. So maybe the staining you're seeing is overflow from there onto the and wetting the wood.
um, well, my memory of the relationship is the box is below the wood, which would be the roof, the decking.
Right.
So that means the water has to be going up to the wood from the box, which
Right.
I would be uh, surprised if that's what's happening there, because it has a number. It looks like it has a number of stains. Um, it's not like it's just happened once or twice. I mean, we've had
You want to look at it on Thursday when we're over at the
sure,
health department anyways?
yeah,
Okay.
okay. Thank you, Marianne.
Thanks. Marianne, what's happening with the septic system?
What do you mean?
Well, you've been having some issue with the septic system that Mike was talking
Oh,
to you
okay.
about.
So, a couple of weeks ago, I got a call from the local health inspector. And he heard that there was something that was exposed. So Richie Robert installed the leach field. For some unknown reason, he came back sometime in the late winter and he dug something up and then he didn't cover it. And he ran into the health inspector and he told them this. So, and he also told him that he had never signed off on the septic compliance form. So, so anyway, I'm in contact with Kat Hilton and his health inspector, who is in touch with Richie Roberts, about making sure everything is signed off properly. But anyway, the health inspector came out, inspected that feature. It was fine. Richie Roberts was supposed to come and bury it up again. He didn't. I called the health inspector. So he said Richie Roberts was away and wasn't going to be able to come bury it, so I buried it. I brought some dirt from home and a shovel and I buried it. And Richie Roberts told the health inspector that he hadn't been paid yet. And then Mike said that there's some issue about that. And again, Mike's email came after 5 p.m., right? So
5:06. No,
okay, so
Yeah.
I didn't have time to read it fully.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought I would, and then I thought I would just have Neil. Again, I feel like that's, it's not our job to pay the subcontractors. So Richie Roberts worked for Pelchat worked for CDI. Our contract is with CDI. Roger, you correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
Okay, and so, and this is all like too complicated. And so I think this is Neil's job to call and negotiate about, but I just want to make sure that Richie Roberts I remember us agreeing to pay more for something, like he had to take extra debris away and we agreed to
Yes,
pay
there
that?
was
Okay.
there was some
Yeah.
some boulders and things underground
Yeah.
that they couldn't obviously reuse, and so
Right,
the project
yeah.
paid for the
right,
boulders to be removed and sand and such materials in equal quantity to be put back. That was paid, I think.
right,
I think from
yeah,
Mike's explanation is there was work that maybe Roberts did that would have been part of Pelchat's work, but just to get things done, they may have done some work that instead of Pelchat, and that's where their issue is between the two of them. But it's not my understanding anything that's not covered in the contract with CDI.
right.
But are
So,
we still waiting on somebody to sign something in relationship to this?
so as of a couple of weeks ago, Richie Roberts had not signed the septic compliance form. And but Heritage had signed it. Heritage was the installer, the engineer, and Richie Roberts was the installer. And so, and Richie Roberts, so this is all secondhand. So Richie Roberts said that usually he didn't sign those forms until he was paid. So this is for all of them to figure out, you know, for CDI and Pell Chat to figure out. I will say Pell Chat has not been. My experience with Pell Chat is they have not been the easiest of the subcontractors to work with. They were, you know, it was really challenging to get them to come out to rebuild that stormwater, you know, feature along Leverett Road. And when I went and I asked the workers what they were doing, they had just no interest in even talking to me. So this was last week. So anyway, I'll call Neil tomorrow and I'll just ask him to make sure that Richie Roberts is paid for the work that he did.
Well, and also that whatever sign off documentation
Mhm.
we need gets
Right.
done.
That's
So
right.
Roger, can you follow up on that?
Yes, yep, we'll do that. That issue should not be holding you up from getting that signed form.
Right.
Yeah,
So are we going to wait for all of these issues to be resolved before we have Dominic sign his signature there for the substantial completion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So who's going to tell CDI that we're waiting for all of those things to happen?
Neil.
Neil, okay. We're going to wait for all of that then.
Yeah.
Roger, will you relay that to
yes, I
Neil?
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I
Again,
know,
our leverage is
yes,
still
your
only
leverage,
300,000.
yes, is the retainage, and I
Right.
think,
Exactly. So,
yeah.
all right. Anything else on that issue on the punch list and the completion of work?
I have just a random observation. So I've been starting to plant some shrubs in front of the building.
Mm-hmm.
When I am working on the outside of the building, close to where the bathrooms are, I can smell a sewage smell. Is that normal?
Shouldn't be.
Noticed it on 2 different days now. Is that something worth checking
Thing-
into or?
Maybe it
Oh.
just
Because the
could
tanks
be,
are right out there.
Yeah,
Like,
but should we be smelling them?
I don't know the answer to that.
yeah, you may get some of the downdraft from the plumbing vents, but otherwise you shouldn't. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's not a place where visitors will ever stand.
no, and the only other source would be the vent pipe out at the leaching field up on the mound, and I think that far away,
Right.
That's,
when the
yeah,
pump
that's
is
not what it is.
pumping and air would come out, you wouldn't smell it 200 feet away. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think it possibly is a downdraft from the plumbing vents, but
Not a concern.
if it, the only thing you could do about that is extend the vent pipe a little higher. But that, if that is the source of it, but the tanks are out front, so it wouldn't be the tanks, right? You're in the backside, right?
No, she's working right near the
In
tank.
the
Oh,
garden on the front
okay.
side of the building.
You're on the front side where yeah. You shouldn't smell anything there.
But the tanks are in the front.
Tanks are in the front, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
But
Is it a constant thing, Penny, or is it
No,
after
it's not a
raining?
constant thing, but you know, it's not like I'm in that spot all the time. I happen to be planting a shrub there today and I noticed it, and I happened to be filling watering cans there the other day and I noticed it. But I'm only there on occasion, so
Mm-hmm.
Just surprising.
I'm gonna say now that there was a time when there was an odor in the director's office. And I thought this is really weird. And I just thought that it might be like off gassing from the carpet. And then I went away. It was right before I went to Chicago. And while I was in Chicago, I thought, oh, I wonder um, if I left a dozen eggs in the director's office.
That's exactly the smell.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And so when I got back from Chicago, I went into the office expecting to find a dozen rotten eggs, which would have been rotten by that point for sure. But there were no eggs and the smell wasn't there. So and the director's office is there, so I wonder if that vent is near the director's office
Yep.
and if it needs to be investigated.
Mhm.
How would I even say this, Roger?
Yeah, because there's tanks there with, access covers, which usually are pretty tight. So,
Mhm.
or, when the pump is pumping, which really shouldn't be very often.
Right, right.
Um,
And I
but
mean, this is not something we haven't, most of us, I think, have smelled venting from septic systems,
Sure.
So maybe we're just aware of it and
I
okay.
don't think you should be smelling it in your office.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. It's one thing to be standing outside
Yeah.
over the tank, but to smell it in your office is not great.
Okay.
And I
So-
also think that with the lack of use of those facilities, that, I mean, I know you can smell it when it has been raining and people have been doing a lot of laundry and, showers and things like that. You start to smell it. When your septic system needs to be pumped, you can smell if your neighbor's septic system needs to be pumped. But I don't think we have any of those um, areas or things happening. So I think this is something that needs to be looked into.
Yeah. I would say that the odd chance that the pump would be pumping at the exact time that you've been out there is really
Small?
very unlikely to
Small,
happen at the
yes,
same time you've been out there. That pump should not pump very often with the
right.
limited use of the bathrooms.
Of our many bathrooms. So Marianne, have you only smelled this once?
I think I've smelled it twice.
And I would say I've smelled it twice in the past week.
Yeah.
Stephen, you have your hand up?
Well, I guess my 2 cents is I'm surprised that you're smelling that penny outside. The septic and all its components should really be sealed tight. And even, Roger's talking about a downdraft you're talking about a roof vent? Is that what
But
you're
they're
talking
on the other side though. They're on the that
But are you talking about a roof vent?
and yeah.
Yeah,
And
I would find that to be very unlikely as well. So I think Penny, if it sounds like you're up there with some regularity doing some planning, I'd check that area and see if you continue to smell it, but I think it should be checked out.
I agree.
So who would do that, Roger, the plumber?
more likely the septic installer. Um,
No.
the plumber typically owns 10 feet outside the building, and we're right at that point, whether it's a plumbing issue domain or the septic. I'd have to look to see actually who owns the tank in the pump chamber, but most likely it would be the septic
So can you,
Paula.
can
Yeah,
you
yeah,
contact CDI and make that happen?
yeah,
Okay,
sure.
all right.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, moving right along. Planning for future development of outdoor spaces. Take it away, Penny.
Okay, so, I asked to have this on the agenda because, for two reasons. One, starting in September, we're spending, a lot of money to have trees planted.
Yes.
And right now, some of the trees are in places where potentially it could impact things we might want to do later on. And I don't want to spend, what is it, roughly $1,000 a tree, to find out later that they're in a less than optimum place. And then the other thing that is going through my mind is that, the library just created a new long-range plan, which I understand was just approved by the trustees. And during that process, a number of things rose to the surface about what people would like to see for the future. And I don't think they're surprising things. I think they're things we've talked about before. One is a pavilion, which was in the original plan, but was cut for the short term for financial reasons. One was a play area for kids. A third was a shed. And I think we have very limited space to put things. And I just want to sort of, as a group, maybe not tonight, but soon, think through what should go where, so we end up putting any of the things that we desire over the long haul in the best place possible, rather than finding out there's a tree in that place that we just planted, or the shed is there and it would be better to put the playground there. Anyway, I just want to think through where things end up as we start to look at the next phase of how we can use the site that we have. And I don't really have an idea of how to do that, but I know Marianne feels very strongly that we need a shed by winter. We need to store, I believe, a snow blower and chairs. And, well, Marianne has a very long list of what would need to go in there. So I would say that that is the first priority, but I would like to just have an idea of where things are going to go before we start putting things anywhere. I don't know what people think about that.
I think it's wise to do that. I think we need to set out the plan and look at it and see how large of a shed, how large of a pavilion, what we're talking about for a children's play area, and then locate them accordingly. And maybe have a subcommittee be doing that and bring it back to the full committee. After you've also, I know that you have an idea of where the trees are supposed to be going, so we'd have to have those in there too. So I think having a subcommittee that works on that would be a good idea.
I think that's a great way to do it. I'm wondering if we could form a small subcommittee that doesn't need to, that can work through, sorry, my dog is barking at a dog next door. Is there a way to put together a small group that can start meeting about that?
Sure.
Now,
Sure.
my dilemma is I leave for Alaska on Friday and I'm gone through the end of the month.
When are the trees going to be started?
I think it will probably be the second week in September. I would
And-
love people, and I have a little plan that I've been, sorry, just spare me, enough. I have a little plan that I can show you. It's not a plan of where I think things should go. It's a plan of sort of what space we have and how big things are. And Marianne, am I able to share that?
You should be able to.
Okay, I've got to find it. I had actually hoped, if we were doing this in person, I took a photograph of the site plan with little pieces of paper pasted to it.
I'm very sorry. That was my fault.
That's okay. That's okay. I just, sorry, I didn't get home until just before this meeting and I'm not feeling very well organized and I have to find that document.
So while you're looking for it, I'm trying to think of when, if you're going to be out of town all of August and the planting is starting the second week in September,
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess,
I can't find my document. Sorry, I put it on my desktop just as the meeting opened. And I don't see it now.
I mean, I guess is the tree situation, are the trees situated in a way that they can't be,
The trees can all be moved.
okay, that was
I
going to be
mean,
my
well,
question.
let me say that Stimson provided us with a tree planting plan. You may remember that we had
Yes.
half of them planted, the ones behind the building. The ones in the front of the building are all sited. Marianne and I have talked quite a bit. We've reorganized the list of plants, so they're on a site plan, but they can be moved. But there are a lot of them, so it's not like we can just helter-skelter crank
Right,
down another 10 trees in a corner to open up a space.
right, right. So if you have that document, then I think that's going to kind of preclude where we have space for these other at least three different um, ideas, the shed, the pavilion, and the children's play area.
Yeah, I think, oh, I'm really sorry I can't find this. I'm sorry. No, I think I just put it in a bad spot as I was rushing to try to get ready for this meeting. I think what we're going to have to do is put things in the area to the south of the building. I think that's the only spot. And that would require some clearing and creating a spot. There's south of the building, there's about a 50-foot space before you get to the buffer zone for the wetlands on the south.
Beyond what's already cleared?
Yes. Remember, the building initially was going to be back there.
Yep, yep. So you have 50 feet back there. And could the children's play area be up in front by the door where the children's room is?
I don't think it's big enough.
Okay.
I mean, it could be there and be very, very small.
Mm-hmm. Well, depend. Okay, Dale, you have your hand up first. Unmute
Yeah,
yourself.
so I'm really wondering, what are we looking at if we want to clear if we want to clear some of that south area out? Because I agree that that's really about the only buildable area. And to get a shed in and a pavilion, I think we're definitely looking at that. And, I mean, I realize we have to coexist with the Concom to do that.
Well, you don't, though.
Oh,
You
okay.
don't, because I think, here, I found the document. So Marianne, what do I need to do to share this?
Right, so do you know how to share a document? Click on share.
Yeah, let me get back to Zoom. Share.
And then, did you find share?
I found share.
You click on it.
Sharing is not turned on.
Okay, let's see. Um,
I'll try again. It says sharing is not turned on, send a request.
okay, send the request.
Okay.
Okay. Now you should be able to share.
Okay, and do I just click on the document to
You
share it?
click on share
Yep.
and then you click on the document.
Okay. Uh, is it sharing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And Brad, I do see your hand up, so we'll get to you.
So just to orient you, you can see where the building is. The wetlands are highlighted in blue marker very crudely on a map.
Mm-hmm.
You can see on the left-hand side of the page, there's a faint blue line. That's the 100-foot buffer zone, approximately.
And what are your 4 sticky notes there?
My sticky notes, the topmost one is a children's play area, which I randomly, I didn't put any thought into what goes where.
Mm-hmm.
They're just meant to represent a space. And that's the play area, and it's 20 by 30 feet. And then the next one just below that is a pavilion, 20 by 30 feet. And adjacent to that is a shed, which I randomly picked at 10 by 16 feet. And again, it was, and then under that is a generator, which is in there, a pad is in there somewhere. And it didn't show on the plan that I had, so I just put a little square for that.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Okay.
is really only meant as a point to start a discussion.
Brad,
So, am I right in assuming that the dashed line is I don't know what you call it, the area
Limited
of,
work.
yeah. And the 2 big spots you have are outside that, and the 2 smaller boxes are inside. I think your question was wanting to avoid having any impact on places we're planting. And I assume the only planting places are those 2 little ones.
Right,
My
right.
bigger issue is I think this is beyond the scope of this committee. I think you're raising an issue that is has to do with the town property beyond the library, and we probably have opinions on it, but I'm not sure that this is the body to decide that issue. So I'm trying to figure out what part of this belongs with us, or I mean, Roger's here representing people, and what part of it would impact him and their work and the contractors.
None.
Okay. Um, I think it's a worthwhile thing. I think planning for stuff is great, but yeah, I come back to wondering whether it's this committee that would do that, or is our task the building project itself, and then it gets handed off.
and I would also want to think about the community preservation money that we have to work with for recreation, which would be the children's play area and potentially the pavilion too.
Oh, for sure. And those, I think those are things that would happen down the line.
But who would be doing this? I think is what
Who
Brad
would
is
be
saying.
paying for it, or who would
No, no,
be?
no. Who would be spearheading it? Is it the building committee's responsibility, or is there another committee that needs to be formed that would be the ongoing, or is it the trustees, or Friends of the Library? We are the building committee who built the building and are landscaping the area, but then I think that was our charge. I don't think this is our charge. I think that's what you were saying, Brad.
It's the question. I mean, I the flip side of it is I don't think there's a clear answer,
Right.
but I'm not sure where our authority falls with
So
these
I
things.
think you might be right that this is a new committee that's formed to look at long-range plans.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Can I
And maybe,
offer you,
and
can I
maybe,
offer you an unsolicited opinion?
Absolutely, Neil.
I would suggest you go back and look at what was presented and sold publicly at the time that the project was approved. And anything that wasn't shown on those plans should really be deferred back to the town for action. I think it would lie outside of the purview of this committee to entertain structures and or permanent additions that were not originally contemplated under the original warrant ask.
so, but originally there was a pavilion as part of the plan that was cut due to money. Do you think that still falls in the same category?
If you were to entertain a pavilion, I would say yes. That would be something that you could pursue within the original concept of the project. But that wasn't what I heard.
Yeah.
And maybe I wasn't listening intently. And I apologize for that and for my tardiness since I have the floor. But I just think you got to be careful. You can't
Yeah.
go too far beyond what was originally planned and programmed before you run into difficulty with that was never part of the project and now you have an issue on your hands.
And it wasn't part of the project. I don't even think the shed was part of the project. It was, we wanted it to be, and the playground also,
Mm-hmm.
but none of that was in the final project that we agreed to build and to do.
I agree with that. But I
So-
think this is, I think this is, I think this is the next phase that we've all
Yes.
thought would come. And maybe, you're right, maybe it's not the building committee's job to do this, but I think a group of interested people need to consider it. As you're talking, the thing that concerns me the most is I know Mary Ann needs a shed. I mean,
Yes.
there's one of the things that is very unfortunate about this wonderful building is there's so little storage space, and things are already packed to the gills. And so,
But I think that the next thing to do would be for, I'll sit down with let's see, when did you say you're leaving, Penny?
I need to be done with library things on Wednesday.
Okay, well, tomorrow maybe, sit down with
I mean,
you
I can
and-
meet on I can meet on Wednesday, but I just need Thursday to.
Okay, so somehow with you and Mary Ann, and we'll write a request to the select board to ask them to put out, they're going to have to put out a notice for,
No, I don't think we're there yet. So I
Yeah.
think this any future stuff that affects the library it's really the trustees' job.
okay,
And so I think like what we need to do is we need to finish this project, and part of finishing this project is finishing the landscaping.
mhm.
And so I think that Penny is concerned about where to put trees. And so I think that we as a body can look and say, okay, so sometime in the future, there might be these other kinds of development of this land. How do we do our landscaping to not create a barrier to that? And but we can't know that any of that development is actually going to happen.
Right.
Okay.
Well, don't you feel confident that there will be a shed?
I feel pretty confident that there could be a shed this fall, and that there could be a small, simple playground. A very rustic, nature-based playground area along the edge of the woods, even next spring. But I don't think it's really like, I think that those, I think that those are things that the trustees could decide.
Mhm.
and
Stephen?
then move forward with. Then the trustees would request that a committee is formed.
Right.
A shed, I think we can just do, the trustees can just do. And then,
I think you can, but here's the dilemma. Where I see you wanting to put the shed, if I understand where you're thinking about it, Mary Ann, makes it hard to access this area back here and do any site work back there down the line. And so,
right, and I think that I'm not as anxious to put in a shed as you make me out to be. I mean, I do know that the highway department has the snow blower and the lawnmower. It's just stored outside. And so it would be really good to have some place to store those things. But, but I also think that those things could be moved inside the highway department somehow. Anyway, Stephen has his hand up. Maybe he has
Right.
an idea.
Right, Stephen.
Well, first I have a question. In your sketch, Penny, right next to the two larger orange squares, there's a sort of dashed blue line.
Mhm.
And what does that represent? Is that the 100-foot buffer?
That's a very crude representation of the 100-foot buffer line.
Okay, so then I just have another question before I have a comment about the shed. So is it possible that we can intrude on the 100-foot buffer? Would Concom possibly allow us to do that?
Right, it just means,
Trade-offs.
well, it means going through a whole process, and it means I'm thinking because the delineation was done more than 3 years ago, having to go through that exercise again, which
Got it.
is an expense.
Got it.
And so I think anything you want to do becomes more expensive if you intrude into the buffer zone.
Right. Okay. Well, then my comment on the play area, the pavilion, and the shed is that I think all of these, from a design standpoint, need to be carefully considered because I feel that we have this incredibly beautiful building. And I think anything that we have erected, needs to reflect that and, be simpatico. We have a lot of leftover slate that could be used for siding on a shed. Um, and I just think we should not rush into these items. I think, this all needs to be carefully considered. And as a short-term thing, I mean, if we're talking about storing a snow blower, could have some pallets and tarps, to cover these things, protect them from the weather somewhat. Not ideal, but until we pursue this to the point where we're happy with what we're going to end up with, I don't think we want to just have a shed delivered.
Right. I totally agree with you, Stephen. Then I think we need to get this building and landscape completed and everything done before we start talking about the next phase of things. And I know that that means, possibly thinking about them in the long term. And if we're looking at using community preservation money, we need to have a plan and put it in December and work through, and we wouldn't be getting the money to work on it until next July. So I think that's a long term.
I agree, and I think for the shed and even the playground, I mean the pavilion and the playground, I'm looking at these in 1, 2, 3, or 4 years, maybe down the line. I just want to make sure we don't put the shed in a place where it's going to impact future possibilities. And
Okay.
so while we're not going to do these things, we just need to think about what's going to go where.
Mhm. Okay. So I think that Stephen's idea of the pallet with the tarps for a temporary might actually go through this season. And if
Uh,
the highway department can store the whichever item is not being used, like the lawnmower, then we should pursue that and then be looking at this after the trees are done.
And so I guess for the short term, we should avoid any planting in that corner of the site.
Yes. If that's the only place that we're going to be able to put those things, yes.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That's the answer that I don't have, is where things should go.
I mean, I see all the circles. I'm assuming the circles that are on that plan are all the plantings.
No, no, this,
No, I meant the circles.
no, those are rocks.
No, the other ones.
The ones behind the building, those are the
Yeah.
trees that are in now.
Right. And so the other planting is in the front.
All of it is in the front.
Okay.
It's all around the parking lot, on both sides of the drive,
Mm-hmm.
and in the area around the stormwater basin and the raised septic system.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So none of them is going to impact this area.
No, there are trees back there too, right now on Stimson's plan.
Okay, so they're not showing up on this plan that you're showing us?
No, they're not on that plan. No, they're not showing up. But there are, there are trees all around the parking lot. There are trees in, I don't know how to show you, in the little,
Your pointer is working, so
that work right here, there are trees along here. There are shrubs all through here. There are trees all along here, in here, all along here and beyond.
but there aren't trees in the area of the parking lot, obviously, directly. If you take your pointer and go directly to the shed and the pavilion, there aren't trees going along there. So we wouldn't be
No,
restricted.
outside of the dotted line, there are no trees. All of the trees are on the inside of the dotted line, which shows the limit of work.
Right, but I'm saying that where you have your orange stickies, there are no trees are planned to be planted there.
There are trees planned to be planted right here.
So then we need to
Find another spot for them.
find another spot for them so that you can have access to there. I mean, obviously that's
I mean, if that's where you want the shed and the pavilion and the play
Hey,
area.
can I just interrupt for 1 second to say that I think it would be nice if we just released Roger and Neil
Oh
from
yes,
planning?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Sorry.
Thanks,
Good night.
Roger and Neil.
Night.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Okay.
So if that's what we need to do, then we just leave that area, like those last two parking spots, that area there, just going towards the pavilion, just leave that without plantings. Knowing that we're going to try to get back there. And if we never get back there, we don't. But that's the only practical thing to do, because if we're not going to plan the whole thing, which we aren't, then
Well, it was never my intention to plan the whole thing. It was my intent. I was hoping we would be able to just look at the site and say, this is the best place to consider these things. Let's avoid putting trees here.
Mm-hmm. I think that makes sense. Any other opinions? Stephen?
Well, first I have a question. Can we put some of the plantings just outside the area of work, that black dotted line?
We are.
Okay.
We're putting
Um,
some things out there, but since this is a wetland, we can't go too far into that, but we will put, I think there are trees all along here. We're going to be putting trees in here.
what about at the south end?
This end?
Yeah, like just and
Well,
closer to the east.
over here. There are trees all along here.
But then can you put some outside that black dotted line?
Well,
I
it's
think
all
this
forest.
is pretty much the property line here.
But on the
On the
south.
south
This
end.
is, and this is the woods.
Oh, so
Oh,
just
here
beyond the
we-
black line is the woods?
Yeah, this is not cleared anywhere back here right now.
Okay.
I would be happy in early September to have somebody sit down with me and look at this because it's a lot of trees.
I'd look at it with you.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Great. Okay, any more comments on this?
Okay, can I stop sharing?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can. Is that does it feel all right, Penny, that
Well, no, it feels lousy. I feel very stressed being responsible for citing $53,000 worth of trees and spending all of our money and having a great deal of uncertainty. So,
mm-hmm.
which is why I brought this up. So, Stephen, I welcome you sitting down with me the beginning of September to talk a bit more with how to do this.
Sure. Just let me know when you want to do that.
Okay, and all of you better have your shovels handy in September too. We've got a lot to do.
Okay. Any other comments on this? I know this is a major task, Penny, and I don't know how, I'm not good at this kind of thing, so I don't know. Yes, Dale.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys are correct. All we could do at this point is make provisions for possibly being able to develop that little corner of the area, and I think that's the appropriate thing to do. I mean, I basically support what we're saying and what we're doing here.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on, is there any other unanticipated business? Does anyone else have something? Because I do have one thing.
I have a spot of cheerfulness to bring in.
Share it.
So when the landscaping crew replanted some of the shrubs that had died, rather than putting them in a place where they were likely to die again, we put them in a more appropriate place, which is in the turnaround of the parking lot. And the shrubs are called spice bush, and they're the host plant of spice bush swallowtails. And there are probably, what would you say, Marianne, at least a half a dozen caterpillars munching away on the lindera, the spice bush, and getting ready to pupate. So that's that's how native plants are supposed to work.
That's great. Very nice. So one other piece of business that I'm going to throw out there that has really not much to do with us, but I was requested to bring it forward, was who is in charge of, and I know it's you, Marianne, that's what I told them, who is in charge of deciding on art being placed in the library, in the meeting room, and having it as an art gallery? And have you put any thought into that?
Yep, so we have a policy. We have an art gallery policy that's posted on the trustees page on shutesbury.org. And once, once things settle down, I'll put out a call for exhibitions. But we also have a meeting room policy, and we have just started allowing people to book, the meeting room, and we've had some private people using the meeting room. We have a policy for the gallery. We don't have all of the infrastructure yet. So we have clips and we have the picture rail, but we don't have anything to connect the picture rail to the clip, to the artwork. And mostly I don't have the capacity to manage that.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's not.
Mhm. But we do, we have a policy. Brad, did you want to add something?
Okay. I'm just reiterating what you said, but in a different way. In the big picture, my answer, Elaine, is it's a decision for the trustees. And we've, as Marianne said, we've discussed it.
Thank you. That's all I need to know. I have performed the duty that I was asked. Okay. Does anybody else have anything they would like to bring forward? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn? We do not have a next meeting planned. We'll meet when we need to, I guess.
And again, at what point will this committee,
Disband?
and that's the word, right?
This committee will disband probably when all of the monies have been spent and we've closed out everything and it's all been approved.
Maybe when Concom has signed off.
On the certificate of compliance,
Yeah,
be a nice milestone.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. That's Jake's.
I'll second.
Stelmus. Roll call vote.
Antonellis, aye.
Almus, aye.
Foster, aye.
Pool eye.
Jake's aye.
Moss eye.
Whack-a-mole shy.
Leo, aye. Thank you all. It's nice seeing you again, and I'm once again apologize for making the mistake. I will remember next time.
It's okay. That was just, we did meet in town hall for a long time. So,
Yes, but
yeah.
it just
Yeah.
hybrid and it just
yeah,
came right up, and that's how I put it in. I
yeah,
forgot.
it's fine. I'm glad I noticed it.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
Yes.
Me
Okay.
too. Thank
right.
you.
All right.
Good night.
Night.
Buddy. Good night.